huge group of criminals organizes themselves and they want to go loot a store, a CVS, a Nordstrom, a Home Depot, until the shelves are clean. You think that's because of the pandemic?
I think a root cause in a lot of communities is the pandemic, yes.
Well, that's a pretty astonishing answer. By the by, organized groups of thugs, they're robbing high-end jewelry and designer clothing stores because of COVID. Sure. I want to rob a brand new Tesla, blame it on COVID. A lot of things I want to do, but I can't. Joining us now to talk about this, Charlie Hurt, Washington Times opinion editor and Fox News contributor, and Katie Pavlich, editor at townhall.com, and also a Fox News contributor. Thanks, kids. A lot to talk about. Katie, can I just start with you on this? The root cause of this, stealing, which is organized in many cases, the root cause of this has nothing to do with the pandemic. It's lawlessness. It's getting out of jail immediately. It's no cash bail. It's, nobody uses broken windows anymore. Small crimes lead to bigger crime. I mean, that's what it's about. What the heck is she talking about, blaming it on the pandemic?
Jen Psaki knows that this smash and grab crime that we're seeing in cities across the country has nothing to do with the pandemic. But what she can't admit is that progressive leftist policies that have been completely endorsed and codified in the DNC platform of the Democratic Party have led to this kind of criminal behavior due to a lack of consequences. All of last year, and really starting back in 2013, 2014, the left decided to classify the American justice system as systemically racist. And if that's something that you believe, which the Democrats have completely endorsed, then you can't enforce the law. You can't enforce consequences for crimes because that would be engaging in the very system that they say is systemically racist. And so we've seen this complete breakdown of law and order in these Democratic-run cities, combined with these soft DAs whose entire philosophy on crime is completely different than the usual view on crime in America. For example, the DA in San Francisco, Chasten Bodine, is the son of two Weather Underground terrorists who went to prison for killing two police officers while they tried to rob a Brinks truck. And then he was raised by Bernardine Dorn and Bill Ayers, who were also Weather Underground and who bombed the Pentagon. So he views being in prison very differently than, old school law enforcement in this country.
That was Kathy Boudin, who I think met her end at a townhouse blow up here in New York City. By the way, we got a DA in Manhattan that is just part of the same George Soros progressive, no law and order crowd. Charlie Hurt, doing a little bit of research on this story, read Katie's column. Apparently, Charlie, looting is not a word you are allowed to use anymore. Looting. I don't know.
It's racist.
On the show, we can come up with a new phrase. But if you go in and steal something, and even more if it's organized and you do it with your friends, it can't be looting. AOC said no looting. And then, wait, if I get this right, Charlie, I got another one for you. Dick Durbin, the Democratic #2 in the Senate, Dick Durbin says you can't bust the looters. You have to focus on the people that resell the loot. In bad movies they call it the fence. The guy who fences it. Okay, I guess that's what they're referring to. So that's pretty cool, Charlie, huh? This is good. No looting, fencing. By the way, you could put it on eBay for that matter, but let's not go too far.
Yeah, no, the lunatics are in charge, without a doubt.
Right.
In fact, it's not racist to call looting looting. If anything is racist, it's to think that somehow looting is some specific racial term. No, looting is when people loot. It says nothing about race. And if in saying loot, you immediately think of race, then you're probably the racist yourself. And that's where the problem is. But of course they're going to blame the pandemic. I mean, obviously we're sort of at this point in the regime where the big lie, the bigger the lie, the better, because it's all so absurd. And if anybody asks the slightest question, the whole thing craters. But of course, The only reason Joe Biden is president in the first place is because of the pandemic and because he blamed the pandemic on Donald Trump, which was ridiculous and dishonest and false and the most disgusting politics you could imagine. But it worked for them. And so, of course, they're going to blame everything going forward on the pandemic because they were rewarded for doing it the first time. And this is what you learn by being in Washington for 50 years.
Well, yeah, okay. I still don't know why looting isn't looting. That's the part I'm still having trouble with.
It is.
There was, yeah.
It is.
We had a discussion. I'm going to digress for a moment, and the producers will yell at me, but my favorite Moscow State University Lenin Scholarship person, Omarova, who is not going to become the banking commissioner. But Katie, she had a little trouble while she was at graduate school at the University of Wisconsin, and she looted a TJ Maxx store in Madison, Wisconsin. And I asked you guys, I'm sure you all know John Fund, and on the radio show, and John, his reason was not he didn't blame it on the pandemic. He said she thought it was TJ Maxx rather than TJ Maxx. So that was his explanation. All right, that was a joke. I just want to put that in there.
She was getting back at the corporation.
Well, okay, so now here's another one, Katie. No white companies, no white stores. That was the BLM, the national BLM. I got to be very careful here. No white stores. The fact is, the white stores may be in a black, minority, brown community. Employees may all be minorities getting good wages. The customers may all be minorities getting good choices, but no white stores anymore. Now, that's kind of the near cousin, if you ask me, to this craziness that there's no such thing as looting.
Yeah, so Black Lives Matter National, Black Lives Matter Inc. is now saying that they want to only shop at Black-owned businesses, no white-owned businesses. People should take their money out of white-owned banks because if you shop at white businesses, you are engaging in white supremacist capitalism. Now, this is the very same organization that was perfectly happy with getting $90 million in donations in 2020 while they extorted corporations into, basically donating money and putting out virtue signaling statements about how they care about their movement because they would then turn around and accuse them of racism. And it's the same movement that hasn't really done anything to rebuild the same black communities that rioters last year caused $2 billion of damage in and destroyed very basic services and stores that communities and people rely on. I will never forget last summer, a woman in Minneapolis, who was not white, by the way, was crying to television cameras because she said, I used to walk to the store and now it's gone and I have nowhere to go.
Good for
That's
you.
what, it's a bigger issue than their racism that they try to play all the time.
Well, they're killing the very people they claim to be helping. I mean, that's part of this story. I got two more kids, and we got to go lightning round, okay? Charlie Hurt, I go to you first. Joe Manchin was a co-sponsor of the anti-vax mandate amendment. Okay, now it got through the short-term funding bill, but there's an amendment, and I think the amendment has one sponsor, one Republican sponsor, 49 Republican votes, and Mr. Manchin has signed on. Now, I don't want to ask you, Charlie, about the merits of the mandate because we'll probably all agree that we don't like mandates. But here's the way I look at this. This is, you know how you go to the store, Charlie, and you try on a nice sport coat, like you try a 38 and see if that works, and maybe it doesn't work. We're all a little older now, and we have to go to a 40 and so forth and so on. I saw this as Manchin kind of trying on a Republican coat. Any thought about that?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that. Think about it from Manchin's perspective. So he's not up in 2022. He's up in 2024. He's not worried about the 2022 elections. He's worried about the election where he could either wind up running alongside a Donald Trump or somebody very much like Donald Trump, or being on a ticket with Joe Biden. I mean, can you imagine running as a Democrat on a ticket with Joe Biden in West Virginia?
I got a hard break. You're right.
It's impossible.
Manchin should go on the ticket. Thanks, kids. We'll see you soon.